All right, y'all, now listen. It's Friday afternoon / evening. Just got home from work and get ready to come up here. And I always, on Fridays, I run over to the dollar store and I get a big bag of ice and fill my cooler. That way I've got water and Powerade and everything's cool for the weekend for working. And when I walked in, I realized I haven't eaten anything today. And I do that a lot. I work all day and don't take a lunch, and usually just, grab a sandwich when I get home or something like that. Sometimes I have cans of soup at work. I'll eat cans of soup or whatever, but I realized I hadn't eaten anything, so I grabbed some little beefsteak bites. I thought, man, bean sausages sound pretty good. So I grabbed a thing of them, but then I got up here in the Woodyard and I realized I didn't have anything to eat them with. So I got a 4-inch framing screw. It actually works pretty well. You screw it right into the end of it and pull them out of there. It's perfect. It's like it's made for it. I ain't saying that's the way you ought to do it, but a man's got to eat. Well, hey there, hobby homesteaders. Welcome back to Peaks Peak. My name's Lucas, and we're sharing our hobbies here on 38 acres in eastern Kentucky. And today, we're working up in the Woodyard because we're trying to prepare a spot to build an equipment shed. Today's video is going to be actually mostly cutting up and splitting some firewood. I've got some really nice oak rounds that I need to split up from some trees that we took down last night. Our firewood situation is starting to get a little bit out of hand because I have 8 totes full of firewood that I can't move because I don't have a tractor big enough to move them. And so I've started just splitting onto some pallets right here, which is fine by me, but my son's probably not going to appreciate it when I make him refill the firewood totes with that wood off of the ground. Maybe I need to get some more totes. But hopefully we'll have a bigger tractor here pretty soon and be able to move those totes down by the road where I can sell that wood as campfire wood, and we have some pretty good firewood, wood stove firewood as well. But what we're getting into is, I talked about this section right over here. We needed to clear off some trees so that we can build an equipment shed here. So I have a place to store my tractor and keep it up here where I'm working. What I run into right now is I actually left the BX up here overnight, but I have to drive the tractor up here, park it, walk down the hill and get the side-by-side and bring it up because the side-by-side has all of my tools and everything on it. So an equipment shed is going to do a couple of things for us. One, it's going to allow me to park the tractor that works in the Woodyard up here all the time. And two, it's going to give me a place to store all of those tools so that I don't have to keep everything in the barn down at the house. I should be able to get some equipment, some implements and things like that up here to where they're out of the way. Right now I have stuff taking up parking spaces and everything else, and our family's growing, so we're running out of room down there. I need to bring some of my implements, my toys, up here and get them out of the way. We took down 2 smaller sized oak trees here last night. We got the trees to fall exactly where we needed them, and that was fine, but I didn't execute my cuts the greatest. I need more practice. I gotta get that down. But we got the trees down safely, and I got all the brush cleaned up with the Artillean grapple on the BX, and today we're gonna take that grapple and get these biggest rounds over to the splitter and get them split up. And then we've got some firewood up there from the branches that we wanna split. And I ended up with 2 16-foot oak logs and 2 that are about 12 to 14 foot. I would say. Now they're not real big. I would say the biggest one is probably a 12-inch diameter and the smallest being about 8. But that's some good oak lumber we're gonna get out of those. Pretty excited about that. Let's see here. Yep, I was a pretty good judge of that one. The end of that log is 12 inches. And it looks like the smallest is 8.5. Well, no, wait a minute. That one back there might be a little smaller. This one, yeah, we got about 13 inches on that one. This log here, yeah, that's 9, down to about 8 on the other end. So yeah, about two 8-inch logs that are 12 foot long and 2 12-inch logs that are 16 foot long. Not bad, not bad. That is the biggest round that I've put on this log splitter so far. I had a sloped cut on that because it was my stump. Yeah, those are oak rounds, and you know, it's just fresh. I just dropped the tree last night. It's a pretty tough splitter. I have said this is the perfect fit for a sawmill operation like mine because it's really fast for processing those slabs and turning them into firewood. But when you have trees that you got to take down and you're gonna have some legit firewood rounds that need split, it can handle that as well. So to me, this is the perfect option for what we're doing right here. I love it. Artillery grapple is a beast too. Gotta love it. I'm telling you, man, especially you get a little bit older, you worry about your back, you gotta do everything you can to do the work with equipment. So guys, I want to show you why it is that I felt okay taking this tree down, even though it wasn't all that big. It wasn't necessarily mature for logs. You could tell it was unhealthy. It had some problems. And well, here's the culprits. And in the short time that I've been making videos about cutting down trees and making firewood and using the sawmill to make lumber, I have gotten so many comments whining about you evil people are destroying the forests and taking away oxygen from people and destroying the planet and all of these things. And it's quite evident that these people don't live in the real world. I'll guarantee you they're typing these comments from houses that are made out of wood, that use all of these products in them. How hypocritical is that? But on top of that, every time I go out and I make a choice to take down trees, I'm looking at trees that aren't going to get any bigger. They're just going to die, and I'm not letting them go to waste. That's being a good steward of the things God has given us. It's kind of like hunting. If you're just out killing things for the sake of killing things, well, I'm not a big advocate for that. I mean, you know, we need to use it and not waste it, but for crying out loud, we got to be a good steward of the resources God gave us. And so to leave this tree to rot and die and then not get any good out of it would just be an enormous waste. I don't understand what world these people live in that they miss that point. I don't know, I don't get it. Guys, I just want to talk for a minute about that last big round that I split, because it took about 4 tries to get the splitter to split that. And, you know, I was cutting right down at the base of the tree, and it was pretty gnarly. You could tell it was a difficult one to split. I had to kind of work it and change the angles in order to get it to split. So that does kind of showcase where the limits are, and that if you're going to be doing great big rounds, big hardwoods, then it might be in your best interest to step up to the next bigger size of splitter. It's on the rare occasion that I get into wood like this, so I'm perfectly satisfied. But I think it's very important when we're going to get on here and show a piece of equipment, especially a sponsored piece of equipment, that we're open and honest about exactly how it works, because I know you guys are using these videos to make your decisions. And if I make it seem like this splitter will just split anything in the world, well, it's one of the cheaper options that they have available. So you might cheap out and buy one smaller than you actually need, and then you're not going to be happy with it. So you need to know the capabilities. So if you're into bigger rounds and hardwoods and all of that, not necessarily focused just on speed, then you may want to check out some videos on those other splitters. In fact, I'll recommend a channel. The Okie Woodsman is also sponsored by Splitfire. He has a really nice splitter on his channel. I can't remember which version it is. It has the attachment on it so it'll split in separate ways, and it also has the 2-way function like the 2265. So a very nice splitter, and it might be the option you're looking for if this is not enough. So the rearranging is the result of a guy who just goes at things without a master plan. I've never been one for a master plan. I kind of let things evolve. But that results in some extra work and rearranging when you do that. So this mess of lumber that was right here come from the very first log that I ever milled. I just started stacking it right there. I don't even know what kind of lumber it is or what, you know, if there's anything any good in it. But I'm gonna sort through that and kind of see if there's anything worth keeping out of that. And I've got this area here, most of the good wood out of it now, so that I can start clearing this off, because this section alongside here is where I'm going to start my next building. Now, I have a bit of a plan for this, because what I want to do is make an equipment shed, which will be about 32 foot long lengthwise on this trail and go about 20 feet deep. That way it's long enough for me to pull a tractor with a bush hog in and get it out of the weather. And so that section, the 32-foot section, will be about 20 feet deep. And then continued off of the side of that 32-foot shed, I want to create lumber storage on down this direction closer to the mill along through here until I'm about even with the edge of the mill here. And so I think that'll give me about another 24 feet of shed under roof coming right down through here and stopping in line with the shed right here. That way I can start staging lumber under roof right in there. And I think it will look pretty cool and it'll give me a nice little setup here. But to do that, I'm gonna have to, all these little trees here, I'm gonna have to clear out. So we've got some chainsaw work, some grapple work, and then some box blade work to level it out. I don't even know, like I don't have a goal for how quickly I'm gonna start building this. I'm just, when I have some free time, I come up here and piddle with it. I want to get it done sooner than later because if I get a new piece of equipment to store up here, I don't want to leave it out in the weather. I can start with a tarp for the first month or so, but I'd like to get it under roof pretty quickly, so hopefully this moves along. Now that I'm sharing it with you guys, I'm kind of making it so that I have to do it, I guess. Man, I don't like pressure. Well, all right, guys, I think we've covered about enough ground for one video. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing me get a start on clearing for my equipment shed. We've got a lot more work to do. I'm gonna get started on that right now by firing up this Mech stump grinder and getting rid of this big old oak stump. And this sucker's a monster. It measures over 3 feet wide. So we got a lot of grinding to do. I'm gonna fire this thing up and get busy. And until next time, you get outside and enjoy God's creation because it's beautiful out here. Y'all have a good day. Well, let's see how we do. She hasn't been fired up for a while, about 2 months.